Alright, so third firing of Manny the Burninator. A lot of wood this time, went about 11 hours, and then we had a few days, a couple, 3 hours of just sitting in front of the kiln, throwing a little bit of wood in, kind of spread a little bit of ash around, and warming up. We had a few green things in there, and plus it hasn't been fired since late spring this year, so it was a little damp, probably. I mean, not that damp, obviously, it's under cover. But just to drive all the water out after glazing, and plus it's just really cool to sit in front of your kiln and throw some wood in. So as we take everything out, we will do a little bit of a post-mortem on what came out. We had some really cool stuff and some stuff that totally didn't work. But overall, I think it's good, and we'll discuss that in the next clip. But you can kind of move this around here so you can kind of see into the back a little bit. But we'll take a few pieces out and talk about the glazes and what we use, and just a little bit about the firing, and try and keep it short. Alright, so flash forward, we're empty. A lot of grinding. Burned up a whole $60 Diamond Cup wheel, grinding all the ash and just natural salt buildup. It's third firing, and so there's a fair amount of salt on the shelves and on the kiln floor. So posts and pots and things that were kind of stuck. Not horrible, but not any fun, and a lot of grinding on the shelves. This firing by far had the most ash buildup of any firing, and I'll go a little bit into why I think that is. It was good firing overall, had a lot of fun, had a lot of wood, so we weren't really that worried. Had one little goof up with the pyrometer. Yeah, I know, Tim. Had it set on J instead of K, or K instead of J, or whatever, and so I thought I was stuck at 1650, and when I figured out that cone 9 was going down on the side, I took another look at the pyrometer, hit the button, and we were at 2350. Which it was good to be that high, but I kind of went through a couple of hold points that I wanted to hit probably pretty quick, so I had a little bit of bubbling out on some of the glazes, some sulfur and carbon burning out, and a little bit of pinholing, but not bad. That's the tile saw. So we're going to talk real briefly here about some of the work. Did a fair amount of Nuka. This is fake Nuka on B-Mix. Like 2500 325 mesh, 2500 Cornwall stone, and probably 1750 ash, and it gave us that. A little bit of blue, not as much blue as last time, because I think just because of the washed ash. This is actually a real Nuka made from rice hull ash, Cornwall stone, and silica, and I think it was unwashed ash. So you can see they're very similar, and this was a lot of work, because burning rice hull ash is no fun. So we'll probably just stick with the fake. But I got a buddy of mine who got me all the rice hulls, and he works at a large rice concern, and so he'll probably think that's pretty cool to be sitting on his desk. It's kind of hack, but he won't know. We did a lot of ash glazes from Phil Rogers' book. Had a lot of success with them. Really had a lot of fun. This is it's called the bone dry ash glaze. You can put it on bone dry or bisque. Works great too. It's 20 local earthenware that we dig, and 20 Nefsi, and 60 ash, and it's just gorgeous. A lot of shine to it. Crazes quite a bit, but whatever. And then inside we used a 50-50 ash glaze, and color-wise, maybe hard to tell. What's funny is the glaze that's in here that is very kind of clear and glossy on most of the work went hard matte. You can see where the ash peaked in between the pots and ran down. A lot of running, a lot of ash in this firing, much more than before. Was surprised and pleased, and will definitely be ready for it. This is very much classic. It's just not the form. It's kind of a hack flower pot, but it's the Curie Shino 2080 Shino, and then you can see kind of the ice blue and the green from the ash that's coming down on that Shino. I was really happy about that because it translated real well on a number of the pieces. Some not so good because I wasn't ready for it. We had a lot of stuff stick, but hopefully we'll be ready next time. But a real kind of alabaster to the Shino, and then the orange, and we'll definitely be Use more of that, especially up front. Shino's great up front, doesn't get hurt. The Nuke is great up front too. You can see all the garbage that hit this pot. A lot of iron from the grate bars and some ash, and you can see how it pretty well held its color. You'll see a little bit of white speckle in there, and that's just from the ash. It seems like where the ash lands, it actually goes whiter than it normally does. Kind of a dappled kind of effect there. It's real pretty. We'll probably use quite a bit more of that. This was another one of Phil's glazes. This was more his standard glaze, and it kind of goes more blue. It's a little bit green in this light, but it usually goes a little more blue. This is on a, you know, kind of a reclaim mutt stoneware, so it's not real pure. On the B-Mix, it went real kind of ice blue as a glaze. A lot of crazing because there's a lot of ash in it, and if we use that more, we'll definitely have to add some more silica to it to try and get rid of some of that crazing. Little bottle again, you know, stuff ran a lot more than I expected. Part of that is we had a little longer firing, and the other part is instead of raking coals out like we had the last two because we were using pallet wood, this time we actually, there's some more the ash running down, very much like you'd see in the front of an Manabigama or something like that, or the Yoan chamber of an Manabigama. Instead of raking the ash out and throwing it back in the kiln, or raking the ash out and taking it out in buckets because it was full of nails and stuff, you couldn't throw it back in. This time it was all clean wood, and we actually raked it out to get some air to the firebox, and then we shoveled the coals back through the door, and so it just creates an ash storm through the kiln, and so we had a lot more buildup this time. We got hotter for longer. The back got hot this time for the first time, and we were happy about that. And the work is getting better, but we're spending a lot of our time doing stuff to make work. We're painting, and you can see the side of the pottery here. For now, it's just screwing around and figuring it out. So it was good firing. We're real happy with it, and you know. Oh, one quick note that I found out after burning up several tile blades during the construction of this kiln is they make a tile blade for, or a brick blade for the wet saw. So I'll be using this for the bricks from now on instead of burning up tile blades, which you can use a tile blade. It totally works for the high-duty brick, but you know, you're just going to go through them a little bit faster, and they're kind of spendy, you know, 50, 60, 70 bucks for a tile blade. I think this was like 70 bucks, but if you use the correct tool for the correct project, they'll probably last a long time. So, a little hint there. Other than that, real good, real happy with it, and the work is improving as we get the chance to do more work, and we're hopeful for the next firing, where we will wad everything meticulously, because the last two firings we just haven't really needed to that much, and this time we really should have been better about that. Thicker kiln wash too. So, well, hey, thanks for watching, and hope you learned a couple of things. If you can find a copy of that Phil Rogers Ash Glaze book, it's a great book, and a couple of real simple recipes in there like that, the 60-20-20. That's just a great glaze, and it's beautiful, and it's just fun to use some local material and your own ash. It's washed ash in that recipe too, it's not regular. So you can either mix it with unwashed ash, and then as it settles in the bucket, pull off all the stinky water and dump that, and you do that a few times. Add some water and let it set, and then dump the water, and that works too. Or you could actually wash the ash and then let it settle and then let it dry and then add it all clean. But it's actually easier just to add it dirty and then just skim off the water a few times, and then you've basically got a washed ash glaze. Some people don't wash it. It tends to run a rivulet a little more when you don't wash it, which is great if that's what you want. And also, it stinks real bad in the bucket, and sometimes it has a hard time sticking to the pot. It wants to crack on the bone dry pot when you dip it. It deflocculates or flocculates. I don't know, whichever that is. Anyway, it doesn't work real good, but when it's washed, it sticks real well on bone dry or on bisque. And most of the stuff we put on bisque. We did do some stuff on some bone dry too. But anyway, thanks for watching.